Welcome, everyone. We're honored to be the only city in the South that has the Haitian brother, the leader of his trade union movement in Haiti, Brother Finoli St. Cyr, with us here this evening. Brother Demoto, the leader of the trade union of Guadeloupe, was unable to be with us tonight. Hopefully, a replacement is on her way. She's stuck in traffic, but hopefully she will get here and be able to give us the update on what's going on in Guadeloupe. I'm welcoming you tonight for three organizations: the North Carolina Labor Party, People Power for Justice, and North Carolina Labor Against the War. Some of you are familiar with these organizations, some aren't, but that's okay. I'm just doing the welcoming for all of them. We're very fortunate to have with us tonight also the real Norma Ray, Crystal Lee Sutton, and her husband Preston. Donna DeWitt, the South Carolina AFL-CIO chair, state chairperson. And last but not least, our own lovely, wonderful mayor, Yvonne Johnson. I'd like to take just a couple of minutes. Well, I think I'll do it after the welcome. Donna's going to give us a welcome.
So I'm to use this mic, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Oh, this is great because even though I don't have my glasses on, there are so many of you in this room that I know, that I have had the opportunity to meet over my years as a trade unionist, that are in the struggles with me, and each day I'm meeting new folks, and I want to commend you in North Carolina for this opportunity to meet trade unionists that have been struggling, have been fighting the good fight. And I just want to say personally what an inspiration that Norma Ray has been for me, Crystal. And you know, this is a wonderful opportunity. I've always wanted to meet you, and it's great for me to have that opportunity tonight. And I want to say that fellow union members from South Carolina wanted to be here, and they had planned to be here. There were several that were coming up, but they weren't able to be here to join you. So I am very pleased to be here. Thank you for asking me. I have many great friends in North Carolina, and I always feel at home here. So we're so honored tonight to have trade unionists that really understand the struggles. Personally, for me, as a union leader, I sometimes see that we don't have the leadership taking on the issues like our brother that you're going to meet tonight. We sometimes, in my opinion, are not facing the struggles. We're hiding from them. And I want to commend you and the folks in North Carolina, especially the sponsoring groups that are here tonight, for your continued struggle. Because the struggles will always be with us, and you'll hear about that tonight. First of all, you know, I want to say that we've heard that Elie Domoto, who's the General Secretary of the General Union of Workers of Guadeloupe, is unable to be with us, and because he faces struggles within his own country, and he was not able to get out of his country in time to be here with us. He is arriving now, but the struggles continue. And earlier this year, the trade unions of the Caribbean island of Guadeloupe led a powerful fight back against the deepening economic crisis of the world, and they united in a coalition of 50 different organizations. The workers and the people of Guadeloupe won a $250 month wage increase for low-wage workers, more jobs for youth, a reduction in the prices of the basic necessities, and a moratorium on home foreclosures. So tonight, we're going to learn more about that, and we could take a good lesson from this. Did you hear all of those things they won? Of course, their struggle continues. And we hope we have someone who will be here tonight to represent Guadeloupe. Her name is Yaramar Bonilla. She's an anthropologist from, I think,
Puerto Rico.
She's from Puerto Rico, and we hope that she will be here to join us tonight to tell about their struggle, because we really need to be fighting back against the massive jobs that we've lost, our health care that we need, pensions, and our homes here in the United States of America. So we can take some lessons from the folks we're going to hear from tonight. Now, this is a special honor for me to turn the mic over to my good friend. I was so surprised that he was here tonight, and so pleased to see him. Alan Benjamin, who is with us from the West Coast in California. I hope that some of you had the opportunity to read the publications of The Organizer. And have any of you ever read The Organizer? Yeah. So Alan Benjamin is going to be telling us more about, he's going to be interpreting for our friend Fignoli Sincere, who's the General Secretary of the Autonomous Confederation of Haitian Workers. Before we do that, we have Yaramar.
Yes.
Yaramar is with us. Hi. We're so glad that she can make it. And Yaramar Bonilla, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yaramar is going to be talking with us tonight about Guadeloupe, as we just discussed, and give us an update on what's happening there. And welcome to you. And I want to say this from our brothers and sisters in South Carolina as well as North Carolina. We are so honored to be able to have this evening, and we welcome you to the South. We appreciate so much y'all being here with us. Y'all, we're in the South. Y'all being with us tonight. So.
At this time, I would like to introduce our Mayor, Yvonne Johnson.
Good evening. I don't think I need this. You know, I have 4 children, so. But I want to say good evening. Richard called me yesterday and said, I know this is short notice, but we have this great man that's coming here from Haiti, and can you come and just bring us some greetings? And I told my 7 o'clock, you have to wait, because I am committed to what you do, what you stand for. I have been that way for a long time. I had a father who worked for the post office, and I understand the struggle, and I understand and appreciate and have the utmost respect for organized labor and what it's trying to achieve. But tonight, I've come to bring special greetings to Finole Sincere, I think I'm saying that correctly, who is struggling in Haiti to really concretely organize in a way that he thinks is best for the people of Haiti, the whole labor movement. And I've had a little chance to talk to him this evening and have given him a commitment to help with something he wanted help with. But I want to welcome him to our city, to Greensboro. We're delighted to have him. We're delighted to have Donna, who is one of the sheroes of labor. And we're just glad to have you as well. So, greetings. Thank you for the work that you do, and if there's anything I can ever do to help, I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. Before we have our presenters, I need to go over just a few things with the audience. What we're going to do this evening is have 2 presentations, about 15 minutes each, and that will be followed by a question and answer discussion from the floor. And we are going to try to limit our comments, hopefully, to about 2 minutes each, and so we'll have time for discussion. The panelists will then have an opportunity to sum up their thoughts at the end, and the meeting will end hopefully right on time around 8:30. So at this time, I would like to present to you Yaramar Bonilla, who will tell us about the struggles of Guatemala. Guadeloupe.
There's struggles everywhere.
Would you pass that down to her?
We're just lucky to have two people.
Sorry. Thank you. Yes, let me just time myself.
Speak in this one.
And
This is for the audience, but this is for
Oh,
being
okay. So
streamed live.
speak into both. Okay. Well, I should say my name is Yarimar Bonilla. I'm actually a professor at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico, but I'm here via Charlottesville. I've been studying the labor movement in Guadeloupe for about a decade now. So I'm very familiar with the context there, and I'll be speaking today because Elido Mota, the leader of the El Tape movement, of the UGTG, was not able to come purely for logistic reasons. They couldn't get a flight in time. So I'm speaking about them, but not completely as on behalf of them, not as them. So I asked Eli what he would like me to say, what he would have, how he would have framed the conversation today. So I'll be following his guidelines. And the first thing he asked me was to just tell you all about Guadeloupe. What is Guadeloupe? What is the colonial and political context of Guadeloupe? So it's important to know that Guadeloupe is in the Caribbean. It's a Caribbean island, but it's a part of France. It's been a part of France since 1946. And so it has a status similar to that of Hawaii to the U.S. in the sense that they're complete French citizens. They vote in the French elections. They have members elected in Parliament. And so it's not like Puerto Rico, where I'm from, which has a bit more of an ambiguous relationship. Guadeloupean workers are full French citizens and are entitled to the full rights of French workers. However, relationship of equality has never been fully carried out. And so Guadeloupeans have always had lower wages than workers in mainland France, and their cost of living, paradoxically, has been much higher for years than in mainland France. So even though their wages are higher, since all their products are imported, they're anything from 50% to even 120% higher than in mainland France. In addition, he really wanted me to emphasize how Guadeloupeans feel in terms of the fact that their society is completely governed from Paris. And so they've always felt that they didn't really have a say in their political development and their economic development. And so even though they had this political citizenship, they very much felt like colonial citizens. So this is the situation that has been present in Guadeloupe for many years. And on top of that, we had the decline of the agricultural economy after they became part of France, so they had less and less of a local economy and were more and more dependent on imported goods. In addition, what little economic activity there is in Guadeloupe is mostly in the hands of colonial elites, the former plantation owners who have retained their economic power. And so working class Guadeloupeans and the descendants of African slaves and of Asian indentured workers have never really had access to the economy in Guadeloupe. However, there has been a very strong tradition of resistance in Guadeloupe and a very strong labor movement. The union density in Guadeloupe is 18%, which is extremely high. And the unions have always been very active. In addition, there have been lots of groups involved in cultural rights, in the revitalization of the Creole language in Guadeloupe and of Creole music. And there's also been a rise in consumer advocate associations because the economy, all the products are so expensive, housing is so expensive, all the basic goods and services are extremely expensive compared to mainland France. So for a long time in Guadeloupe, they've had all these different labor unions and consumer rights associations and cultural groups trying to battle with the different aspects of their relationship to France in different ways. But even though they had been in kind of solidarity with each other, they hadn't really come together to work together. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today was the recent strikes that they had in 2009. Now, these strikes were not carried out by just one labor union. They were carried out by a coalition of 48 different organizations. organizations. And so within those, you have the whole spectrum. Every single labor union in Guadeloupe was involved in the strike. All sectors of workers, from hospital workers, hotel workers, gasoline workers, tourism, commerce. And then you also had cultural groups, dance groups, musical groups, a lot of drumming groups, consumer advocates, and housing proponents. So they all came together within this collective. And it all started around gas prices, because as in the U.S. and as in other parts of the world, gas prices had reached a peak in Guadeloupe. But then when the gas prices were lowered here and in other parts of the world and in mainland France and Guadeloupe, they weren't lowered. So they said, wait, what's going on? We got to apply all the increases of the world market, right? We're part of this world market, but when there's a decline in the world market, we don't get to benefit from that. So these different groups, and this all started actually in French Guyana, which had the similar relationship as Guadeloupe and Martinique to France. So in these different kind of ambiguous spaces of the French Empire, people started to be troubled by this. And so they began to organize around gasoline, and the local government pretty much ignored that. So this was in December of 2008. And so it was, Christmas was approaching. They didn't want to go on strike right at Christmas. They wanted to buy their presents and have their New Year's parties and everything. So they said, well, let's reconvene and let's declare a strike for the third Tuesday in January. And it just so happened that was January 20th, the day that Obama took presidency in the United States. So a lot of people felt that this was kind of the echo of the Obama revolution, and certainly they were very, very moved, by Obama's ascent into power, and it was an inspiration in some sense. A lot of people had Obama shirts and Obama hats, and they were saying in French, yes we can, and everything. But it was definitely a different movement that had its own logics and its own roots. But I think it caught a lot of people off guard, and a lot of the press was focused on Obama and on the United States. So they were on a general strike for several days and even kind of several weeks before people took notice. So they declared this general strike on January 20th. Am I doing on time? And the strike lasted 44 days. During this period, all the schools were closed, so students were not in classes. All the supermarkets were closed. All the major shopping centers were closed. Every aspect of commerce and retail was closed. All gas stations were closed. People had to park their cars. They didn't have gasoline for a month and a half. People started changing their culinary habits because they couldn't buy the imported food that they were used to eating, so they began eating more fruits and vegetables and local fish. Fishermen did very well during this time, and kind of local merchants, farmers opened up their lands. Since they weren't selling to the supermarkets, they let people come and pick tomatoes and everything themselves very cheap. So even though in France they were saying, oh, it's a crisis and they're killing the Guadeloupean population, they're dying of hunger because the French supermarkets are closed, bad people ate very well and very healthy. They did lose a lot of weight because they were walking and biking everywhere, and all the cars were parked. But overall it was a very special period, and for everyone who lived through it, it was this kind of social revolution. And I'm an anthropologist, so the work that I do is to talk to people and interview them about how they experience these social movements. And so when I went there to talk to them, I was there during the strike. Everyone was just so amazed about what they were able to do, how they were able to eat differently and live differently. And some of them, I was there near the end of the strike, they didn't want it to end. They said, oh, we kind of like this little life that we have, with our neighbors and with our friends. We don't necessarily want to go back to work and then traffic jams every day and that kind of alienation and disassociation from each other. And during this time, of course, they were coming together to hear the leaders speak on what was going on, and the whole negotiations were transmitted live on TV for 3 days. So people were able to participate all over Guadeloupe. Even if they weren't able to go in person, they were able to participate in the negotiations and to see how the local employers justified their low wages and how they justified their incredible high prices, and how the local politicians didn't really have any solutions. So I think for a lot of people in Guadeloupe, this was really a moment of awakening, of recognizing the kind of relationship that Guadeloupe has with France and how they don't have a local economy. And so also during this time, it was a lot, the coalition that came together, they called themselves, in French, it's Lianage contre Profitation, which is, Lianage is a Creole word that means alliance. And so it's an alliance against Profitation is a Creole word that has no translation, but it's kind of a merging of excessive profit and exploitation. So they were in alliance against this kinds of abusive powers and abusive prices. So a lot of people criticize them for being kind of against something, but not necessarily for something. But what emerged as the kind of slogan of the movement was from a song that became very popular during that time, which was Guadeloupe. The lyrics in Creole translate, they say, Guadeloupe is ours, Guadeloupe is not theirs. So basically the driving ethos of the movement was about not letting things be decided from afar and not letting a foreign, French capitalist kind of control the economy without any kind of local economic production. And so after the 44 days, and I'm rushing to keep under time, but I'm happy to answer questions and to speak individually after. But I do want to emphasize that they did win. They won everything that they asked for, which is so rare, right? So they held out for 44 days, and it was long, and it was dragged out, and it was very hard, and you know, they were called to end the strike over and over again, but in the end they won everything they had asked for. They got $250, 200 euros increase in the monthly salaries of the lowest tiered workers, lowest paid tiered workers. They got lower prices on 1,400 different basic needs products in the supermarkets, lower cost of gas, internet, housing, public transportation, and they also got a series of initiatives for local fishing initiatives, the development of local agriculture, and local cultural incentives, and stuff like that. And they also got the attention of the French government. And then Sarkozy was just in Guadeloupe, I think it was last week or the week before. And Elie Domota really wanted me to emphasize, you know, he wanted me to emphasize the challenges they're facing, because I want to really emphasize their victories. And I think that what they've done, the fact that they were able to suspend economic transactions in a society for 44 days and to get people to live differently for 44 days and question their patterns of consumption and their ways of interacting with each other, I think that that is a huge victory. But he wants me to make sure to emphasize that you know, the local employers are not taking this lying down. They've lowered prices on 1,400 products, but they've raised prices on a lot of other products to make up for it, products that aren't on the controlled list. And the French president has said that he's not going to tolerate this kind of social movement in Guadeloupe, and he's very scared because it has spread to Martinique, it has spread to Réunion, and it has also really inspired workers in mainland France, and particularly in areas of Brittany and Corsica and these other kind of areas that have questionable relationships to the French government. And you know, I've been talking about this in Puerto Rico and trying to get other Caribbean workers inspired, and hopefully it'll spread through the U.S. too, because I think that they demonstrate what you can do when you work together. Thank you. So I will leave it there. Actually, a little bit under time, but I'm happy to take up some more time in the questions and answers. That's fine.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. And now we're going to hear from Fenol de Saint-Cyr. And because of the translation, you know, it takes a little longer, so please be patient.
Would it be all right if I said a few words to introduce him?
Sure.
Okay. Hello, my name is Alan Benjamin, and I've been both helping to do the interpreting and acting as and helping coordinate this tour, which is going to 8 cities. And I've had the good fortune to meet for the first time just a few days ago Brother Fignolet, and I just wanted to say a few things about him and his struggle, because in the first 2 meetings that we had in New York, I found he was very shy and very unwilling to put the spotlight on him or his role. But I think that as you listen to him, it's important to know who is speaking before you and what that struggle is about. Fignolet was born in a peasant family in a small peasant community in the department of Albonite, and he's near the city of Gonaïves. He became an early organizer of the peasant movement. At the time of the dictatorship, he was jailed, beat up repeatedly, worked and joined in coalition with the student organizations that were mobilizing, repeatedly brutalized. He went on to get a job in a factory, was one of the few jobs available, making baseballs for the Major League Baseball. These were made at the time with the cheapest labor imaginable, still is the case, as you will hear, and went on to become an organizer, helped to unionize the plant, helped to become a regional leader, ultimately elected as a delegate for the department, went on to become a leader of the movement that brought President Aristide to power in the 1990 elections. And as soon as the coup, the first coup in 1991, Many fled the country. He went to the Maquis, as he calls it, which is the underground. They went back into the hills. They went back to organize the resistance. He reemerged when Aristide comes back in 1994, and it was, in a sense, the heyday of organizing from 1994, 1998, 1999. The threefold increase in the organizing at that time of movement building, and not without difficulties, not without problems, because, as you know, that was Aristide was not in power at that time. It was still different governments, but a movement was building. He was jailed by the employers illegally to prevent him from becoming the general secretary of his union during a union election. The president of his union, the CHEH, the Autonomous Confederation of Haitian Workers, had been so tortured and brutalized by the forces that organized the first putsch, the first coup d'etat against Aristide, that he died. He died from the wounds inflicted. Fignolet became the interim secretary. When the brother dies, he became the general secretary, even though he was in jail, even though he was incarcerated illegally by the employers in the cell of a factory. During a whole week during the convention, he was still elected unanimously by his federation. They fought the good fight. Aristide was elected. They were able to regain momentum and build the union once again, the federation, and they fought. They were on the front lines against the coup that in 2004 removed Aristide from power, and he has remained a steadfast supporter of the movement from below, building alliances. He'll tell you the rest of the story. I just wanted you to have a little bit of background so you know about Fignolet Saint-Cyr. So
let's give him a warm Greensboro welcome.
Voilà, c'était une présentation que j'ai faite.
Merci Alon. Bonsoir à nouveau. Je vous remercie pour l'accueil. Je suis très content d'être ici aujourd'hui.
Thank you so much for this welcome. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Et pour échanger avec vous. La madame qui m'a précédé là dans l'intervention du LKP, alors je voudrais ajouter des petites choses parce que j'ai suivi beaucoup l'action du LKP et le GTG, c'est un syndicat ami qui partage les mêmes idées avec nous en Haïti, de la CAT.
I wanted to thank the sister for the presentation. I just wanted to say, add a few things because we have had. Il faut qu'on partage ce micro pour que les gens écoutent. Because I just wanted to add a few things. We have had very close working relationship with the LKP and the UGTG, the General Union of Guadeloupean Workers, and I just wanted to add a few things.
Le LKP, c'est une alliance entre de toutes les organisations de la Guadeloupe et la population elle-même.
It's an alliance of all the organizations and rooted in the population itself.
J'ai pu participer à des manifestations, les handicapés, les vieillards ne peuvent pas y aller, mais s'arrangent à côté de la rue, en donner de l'eau, de la nourriture, tout ça.
The entire people were behind this movement, giving food, handicapped people, elderly, everybody, one way or another, contributed and participated in this movement.
Et cette alliance, c'est pour lutter contre l'État français, du colonialisme même qui existait en Guadeloupe.
And it's to struggle against the French state and colonial occupation of Guadeloupe.
Particulièrement Béquet.
And in particular, the white oligarchs known as the Béquets that control.
Et Guadeloupe, c'est Béquet, chez nous, c'est Béquet.
And so you see the similarity in Guadeloupe. This white minority is called the Béquets. The Creole is different in Haiti. They're called the Béca. But it's the same reference.
Et aujourd'hui, après l'accord de Bino, Bino a été tué par les Français, par les soldats français.
So you know this agreement that was won was based on the struggle and a brother was assassinated by the French troops, Jacques Binot. The agreement that was signed was in honor of Brother Binot.
Et aujourd'hui, c'est la répression après 44 jours de grève.
But you have to know that today there's been a backlash and a counteroffensive after the 44 days of strike. It's mounting repression against this movement.
Les LKP, les GTG ont besoin du soutien de tous les démocrates du monde.
More than ever, the LKP and the UGTG need the support and the solidarity of all democratic, loving people in the world.
On a tendance aujourd'hui de diaboliser le GTG parce que c'est l'œuvre de l'UGTG.
They are presenting in the media, and there's a campaign to incriminate and to present these as the devils, the UGTG.
La Guadeloupe, c'est le pôle de ralliement pour tous les démocrates pouvant lutter contre l'inacceptable.
And for us, all of us, Guadeloupe is the rallying point today of all those who've waged a struggle and who've won a struggle against everything that is unacceptable for all of us.
Et l'absence d'Élie de Mota ce soir, c'est dans ce cadre-là parce qu'il voulait être là, mais à cause des avocats proches de l'UGTG qui devaient se présenter hier devant le tribunal, a occasionné l'absence de l'UGTG aujourd'hui, Élie de Mota.
And Elie Domota is not here today for one reason. He and his lawyers are on trial. They had to appear yesterday before a court for a hearing, and were not able to make a plane in time after that hearing to be able to be here with you. But they are facing serious charges, I might add, of sedition for the work carried out for a 44-day strike.
Alors, la camarade a fait une présentation assez succincte, mais je voulais ajouter ces petits points.
I just wanted to add just the urgency of the situation. Laisse-moi prendre le micro et moi je le tiens pour toi. Ça va?
Okay, ouais.
Okay. A very important presentation, succinct, but I just wanted to leave you with the urgency of the situation facing these sisters and brothers now.
Alors, maintenant, c'est mon tour pour Haïti.
My turn on Haiti.
Alors, je vais présenter l'organisation, la centrale de la CAT.
So just to tell you a little bit about my union organization, the Autonomous Confederation of Workers of Haiti.
La CAT, c'est une centrale syndicale qui a pris naissance le 15 mai 1980.
We were born 15th of May 1980
en pleine dictature des Duvalier.
During the Duvalier dictatorship.
C'est une centrale syndicale jeune, mais adulte dans son action.
Young but very adult in its action.
Et opté pour un syndicalisme de lutte des classes.
And we opted for what we call and what we have held dear as a class struggle, trade unionism.
Après, en 86-87, la CAT représentait en Haïti un syndicat la plus représentative.
Beginning in 1986-87, we can say that the CAT is the most representative trade union federation in Haiti.
Mais un peu effrité après le coup d'État.
But we suffered severe blows with the successive kidnappings and coups against President Aristide.
Et aujourd'hui, nous avons seulement 30 000 adhérents cotisants.
Today, we have 30,000 members who pay dues-paying members.
Et c'est symbole même de l'indépendance du mouvement ouvrier.
But that they're paying their dues in these difficult conditions is a testimony to our commitment to remaining an independent union federation.
Aujourd'hui, alors, Haïti maintenant vit une situation assez difficile dans son histoire de peuple.
Haiti is living a very difficult moment in the history of our people.
Parce que depuis 1991, il y avait un coup d'État en Haïti et pour arriver en 2004 lors de l'enlèvement de M. Aristide.
You know about the first coup d'État in 1991, followed by a second kidnapping and coup in 2004.
Nous avons une population de 10 millions d'habitants, plus de 80% vivent dans le chômage.
We have a country of 10 million people, more than 80% of our people, and the economic active population is unemployed.
Et 0,01% détient toute la richesse du pays.
while the wealth of the country is in the hands of 0.001% of the population.
La situation devient beaucoup plus grave après les ouragans successifs, disons Anna, Faye et Gustave l'année dernière.
And the situation only was rendered more difficult after the 4 hurricanes last summer.
Et le peuple est assujetti, opprimé, muselé par les autorités étatiques et la communauté internationale, entre guillemets les États-Unis et la France, le Canada.
And following this coup, our people have been subjected and been oppressed and have been rendered even more helpless in a situation of poverty, rendered even more poor by all the powers that be, the institutions, and leading the charge in this, quote, international community is the United States government.
Les pires, après post-cyclone, post-ouragan, on nous avait beaucoup promis d'aide, mais ce sont des promesses fallacieuses.
They promised us after the hurricanes all sorts of international assistance. These were false promises.
Je viens de la région de Gonaïves, parce que je suis né à Gaumont, comme vient de dire Alan.
I come from the area of Gonaïves, as I told Alan, me. I come from a town, a small hamlet of Gromont.
Toute la ville a été détruite. Et jusqu'à présent, au moment où nous parlons, rien n'est fait pour aider la population.
The whole town and the whole city of Gonaïves destroyed. Nothing has been done to rebuild.
Et vous êtes pas sans savoir, et l'ONU a lancé une campagne de financement pour Haïti. Moins de 2% de cette somme a été trouvée.
The United Nations, we were told, launched a campaign to raise money for us. It officially has been reported and announced that less than 2% of that aid has reached us.
Je vais dire une chose pour implémenter ce que je viens de dire là. M. Clinton était président de la République.
I want to say something to bring us up to date. When Bill Clinton was president of the United States,
Il avait amené le président Aristide en Haïti en 1994, le 15 octobre 1994.
he helped bring President Aristide back in 1994.
Sous le pelouse du Palais national en Haïti, il avait promis de reconstruire Haïti, de reconstruire Haïti, de construire plusieurs dizaines de milliers de kilomètres de routes. Au moment où nous parlons, même un kilomètre de route n'a pas été construit par M. Clinton.
And he gave a very passionate speech on the steps of the National Palace, promising us aid, saying that there would be jobs, that there would be tens of thousands of miles built of roads, and of jobs would be created. To this day, we haven't seen any of that.
Et aujourd'hui, il est nommé comme envoyé spécial de M. Ban Ki-moon pour Haïti. Je ne sais pas pourquoi cette nomination.
And today he's been nominated by the United Nations to be the special envoy for Haiti. We're waiting to see what the real content is of that nomination.
Je ne sais pas si c'est pour consolider le statu quo en Haïti dans le cadre de la loi Europe et des multinationales, mais en ce qui a trait pour aider la population, je ne crois pas. C'est un grand point d'interrogation.
Is it going to be Bill Clinton to come and to reinforce the status quo and the new law on that we've been promised, or that's been called the HOPE Act for job creation? Is it to do that? Does it have another? What is the purpose? We don't look upon this very favorably. It's a big question mark at this point.
C'est pourquoi la CAT cherche aujourd'hui par ma voix la solidarité de peuples de tous les continents et au niveau mondial. Le mouvement noir aux États-Unis, des démocrates, des jeunes, des artistes pouvant nous aider à retrouver notre souveraineté, à savoir le retrait des troupes de l'ONU en Haïti.
And that is why for us the first task and why we're here on this tour is to call upon you, and particularly in the black movement in this country, people were rooted in the black struggle, among people who struggle for democracy and human rights, youth, women, all organizations, trade unions, to help us in our struggle to reclaim our sovereignty by helping us in the struggle for the withdrawal of the MINUSTA UN occupation troops from Haiti.
La MINUSTA, c'est une force d'occupation et non une force de paix.
Following the coup, the UN brought in these troops in the name of peace and stability. I can tell you this is a force of occupation. It's not a force for peace.
Je vais donner deux exemples pour montrer que la MINUSTA, c'est une force d'occupation.
I'll give you some examples so you can see why we say that this is a force of occupation.
En avril 2008, lors des émeutes de la faim en Haïti, la MINUSTA ont tiré à bon portant à l'hôtel d'homme. Il a tué des journalistes et plusieurs de personnes de la population ont été blessées.
There were hunger riots. People are hungry, and in April 2008, the MINUSTA forces, which are acting as the armed forces in Haiti, they shot on the crowd, killed at least 2 journalists and dozens more.
Et le mois dernier, c'est-à-dire en juin dernier, il a assassiné une personne, un jeune garçon qui s'appelle Jacob Désir lors du funérailles du père Gérard Jean-Just. Père Gérard Jean-Just, c'est un prêtre qui a beaucoup lutté pour les immigrés en Haïti. Il avait un centre à Miami qui s'appelle VEO, peut-être vous entendez parler.
One other example, and most recent among others, was the assassination by the MINUSTA UN troops of a young man, Jacob Désir, just a few weeks ago during the funeral march, the funeral procession, the burial of Father Gérard Jean-Just, who many of you may know was in your country, in this country, involved in the defense of Haitian refugees.
Et cette occupation...
Mais sur Jean-Just, je t'avais interrompu, tu disais.
Jean-Just, c'est un prêtre, disons sur le plan politique, du mouvement Lavalas, mais c'est un prêtre intègre, c'est une personnalité de référence, de tout le monde peut discuter avec lui, et il est mort, et ce type-là allait apporter sa solidarité pour donner un dernier hommage et a été tué par la MINUSTA.
Gérard Jean-Just is from the Lavalas movement, but people way beyond the Lavalas movement recognized him for his integrity, his fact that he fought always on the side of the people, and it was to pay homage to him that people gathered and mourned, began chanting, and there was this young man who was assassinated by the United Nations troops.
Et la MINUSTA faisait quoi? C'était un bandit.
And the MINUSTA later explained that they were not responsible, that this was just a petty thief, he was just a gang member.
La MINUSTA ment le monde entier.
And the MINUSTA has been lying through its teeth to the world.
C'est pourquoi la CAT, dans le cadre des activités avec l'ATPC et de l'entente internationale, l'ATPC, c'est l'Association des travailleurs de peuple de la Caraïbe, avait organisé une conférence en décembre l'année dernière à Port-au-Prince.
That is why the CAT, our federation, in the framework of the Caribbean Workers and Peoples Alliance that was formed to build solidarity in the struggle of workers and peoples in the region, organized a conference in December in Haiti.
Sous le thème Défendre Haïti, c'est de défendre nous-mêmes.
Under the banner of Defend Haiti is to defend ourselves.
Et à l'intérieur de cette conférence, il y avait une certaine de résolutions qui ont été votées.
Many resolutions voted at that conference.
La plus importante, c'est une commission internationale d'enquête. La mission de cette commission, c'est démontrer au monde que la présence de la MINUSTA, c'est une force d'occupation, et tout ce que dit l'ONU, que la communauté internationale en Haïti, c'est faux, parce qu'il faut aller voir aux yeux pour écouter les travailleurs, les jeunes, les femmes, pour dire, pour comprendre la situation en Haïti.
And one of the decisions of then was to organize an international commission of inquiry. Most people don't know about this occupation or about the role of the UN. We want people to come, people who are recognized figures in their communities, in their unions, in their to be with us, to talk to the workers, talk to people in the street, talk to people from all walks, hear what they have to say, get their testimonies, because this is one more occupation, and we need to reclaim again our sovereignty.
Et cette commission est parrainée par un grand écrivain uruguayen qui s'appelle Eduardo Galeano.
The commission is headed by the famed Uruguayan author Eduardo Galeano.
Vous êtes conviés à venir du 16 au 26 septembre 2009.
You are invited to participate, to get your organizations to join in this International Commission of Inquiry from September 16th to the 26th, 2009.
Pourquoi cette invitation? C'est pour aller voir vous-même, pour compléter ce que je viens de dire là.
So that you can see for yourselves and not take as good coin what I'm telling you here.
Et une autre recommandation, c'est la dette externe d'Haïti.
Another issue that we brought up is the question of Haiti's foreign debt.
Le budget de fonctionnement de la ministère coûte 540 millions de dollars là.
Tu parles de la dette ou de
Non, non, de la ministère.
Ah, d'accord.
Ouais.
Okay. Donc, okay. Confused. Before the debt, there's the question of the budget for the MINUSTA troops that has to be addressed.
550 millions de dollars, c'est ça?
Badila?
Oui. Si on veut aider Haïti, ces 540 millions de dollars peut nous aider à construire des écoles, des hôpitaux pour pouvoir aider les gens.
So if people genuinely, if the community internationally wants to help us, there's a budget for the UN for this occupation and for bullets that cost $549 million a year. That money could go to rebuilding, could go to hospitals, to roads, to our development.
Et avec couteau aux gorges, le président Préval paie les institutions du Bretton Woods $1 million chaque semaine pour le dette externe. Et nous voulons l'annulation de cette dette.
Mais la dette externe, c'est par 5, ça c'est $1 million par semaine.
C'est $1 million par semaine, ouais.
Mais c'est pas la MINUSTA, ça.
Non, c'est autre chose.
Donc tu veux que je parle Ah, d'accord.
Ouais.
Okay. So he has President Preval has a gun at his head, a knife at his throat, demanding to continue the occupation, as well as a foreign debt, that Haiti has a foreign debt of $1 million a week that's being paid back to the foreign banks, and we want the cancellation of that debt.
Je vous en remercie.
So thank you very much. La dette, c'est autre chose que la ministère. Tu les as mis dans un seul. Ouais. C'est pour ça que j'ai fait conclure, tu vois. C'est pas grave, tu vois.
Let's give the brother and the sister another round of applause. At this time, we're going to open up the floor for questions, comments, and please try to limit your speaking to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Can you tell us something about the situation now in Gonaïve? Do you expect the rest people there are even worse off than in the rest of Haiti?
Peux-tu nous parler de la situation en Gonaïve? Est-ce que c'est pire que dans le reste d'Haïti? Comment les gens vivent? Comment ils vivent? Comment ils font? Si tu prends le micro. Ça c'est pour
La situation en Gonaïve est très difficile pour la population.
The situation is very difficult for the people.
Ils vivent dans des quartiers assez difficiles, mais ils s'arrangent pour survivre. Mais en ce qui a trait le support du gouvernement, rien n'est fait. Et aussi, sur la question de famille, c'est très difficile parce que les plots ont été complètement ravagés.
It's like the rest of the country. It's just been ravaged by the hurricanes. Nothing's been done. We find ways to eke out a living, but the situation. Est-ce qu'il y a la famine?
Oui, il y a beaucoup de famine.
Tu peux dire?
Oui, il y a beaucoup de famine.
I just asked him to elaborate. There's, I've heard him say there's tremendous hunger. There's famine.
But just follow up, you say only 2% of the promised aid is come. Is there aid at all?
Est-ce qu'il y a de l'aide? Est-ce qu'il y a des coopérations des autres pays?
Bon, on dit qu'il y a des coopérations, mais la population n'a rien trouvé dans cette coopération-là. Et c'est pourquoi il faut dire, en Haïti, il y a un système de rente. Si on donne une prime, sur les États-Unis, la France donne une prime, et on envoie des gens pour aller chercher cette prime. Et c'est avec ça qu'on va faire le travail. D'où c'est un système de rente. Et on a rien fait pour garder la population dans une situation de misère.
People, there's some money that's given. They send people to go get it, collect it. We may or may not see it. The people benefit from that aid. Mais qui donne il y a des gens qui donnent de la coopération quand même.
L'ONU et certains l'ONU.
Venezuela, Cuba.
Oui, mais il faut signaler il y a deux coopérations très importantes en Haïti. C'est la coopération Cuba, Venezuela. Cuba envoie des médecins qui vont partout et ailleurs, qui donnent des services et des proximités, je dirais endogènes avec la population, avec des...
So we're not getting anything from those quarters in aid, but they're what we call cooperation. We're getting genuine cooperation from two countries, Cuba and Venezuela. From Cuba, we get doctors that go everywhere across Haiti to help us.
Les médecins cubains.
Les médecins cubains.
Les médecins cubains, il y a aussi des étudiants haïtiens qui étudient en Cuba.
And also we have large numbers of Haitian youth who are studying medicine in Cuba.
Et c'est une formation de qualité.
And it's a first-rate quality education.
Et pour Venezuela, il y a accord Petro-Caribe.
We have with Venezuela, among others, we have an accord on oil at reduced rates.
Et aussi,
preferential rates.
Et aussi envoie des gens pour construire 4 usines d'électricité.
And they have sent workers and funds to build 4 power plants, electrical power plants in Haiti.
2 à Port-au-Prince, l'une au Cap-Haïtien et l'autre à Gogonaïf.
2 in Port-au-Prince, 1 in the North Cap-Haïtien, and the other is in the Gonaïve.
Miguel Descoto of Nicaragua is now the president of the
Miguel
UN
Descoto
General Assembly.
c'est le président de
Are you
l'Assemblée
getting
générale
any
de l'ONU.
cooperation at all from
Est-ce qu'il y
Nicaragua or
a une coopération de Nicaragua?
Complicity of the betrayal by Haiti of the United Nations.
Parce qu'il y a, est-ce que Descoto qui vient de Nicaragua, est-ce que Nicaragua donne de l'aide? Est-ce que lui, en tant que nouveau président de l'Assemblée générale, on peut se diriger vers lui pour démontrer la trahison de la charte de l'ONU qui est faite par l'ONU en relation à Haïti?
Je pense oui. Mais en ce qui a trait d'aide, je n'ai pas encore. Je ne connais pas en ce qui a trait d'aide.
He says, I don't know if there's been any aid from Nicaragua, and as far as could we make a case for Father Descoto, I think yes. Réponds aux autres.
Oui, c'est moi qui réponds.
Speaking for myself, I'd love to hear if you have more to elaborate on your perspective from Haiti. I'd love to hear more of that. On if you had a more prepared presentation, I know time was short.
And what specifically?
Oh, well, just if you had more prepared that you wanted to say about it.
Est-ce qu'il y avait d'autres choses sur Haïti que tu aurais voulu dire? Par exemple, pour la question de temps, ça a été un peu raccourci. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres aspects de la situation que tu voudrais traiter? Salaire minimum, par exemple, le jobs?
Bon, il y avait
La question de qu'est-ce que c'est la loi et la sous-traitance? Donc tu peux le faire vite. En 2 minutes.
La question épinée en Haïti actuellement, c'est la question du salaire minimum. Hein. Le salaire minimum est...
Well, just one thing in particular is the question, the big struggle that's underway around the minimum wage.
Le salaire minimum en vigueur actuellement, c'est $1.30 pour une journée de travail.
Our minimum wage today is $1.30 for an 8-hour day.
Mais il y a une loi qui a été votée par le Parlement il y a 2 mois pour augmenter le salaire minimum à 200 gouttes et ça fait à peu près $5 US.
There was a law that was introduced into the Assembly to raise the minimum wage to $4.84 a day.
Mais les patrons ont refusé d'obtempérer pour l'application de cette loi.
And it was actually voted by the Assembly, but the bosses have refused to accept this and to respect that minimum wage.
En disant si on augmente les salaires, les jobs vont partir, vont quitter Haïti pour aller en Cambodge et ailleurs.
They say that if we were to raise the minimum wage, whatever jobs we have would move to elsewhere, to Cambodia or somewhere else.
Mais ça rentre dans sa politique, dans la politique du gouvernement et du patronat.
But the reality is that there was an agreement already between them to not implement this. It's the government working hand in hand with the bosses to keep us down.
Alors, $5 US pour 30 jours de travail, ça fait $120, mais les patrons ne veulent pas, parce que c'est trop d'argent pour un ouvrier qui travaille dans une usine.
Yeah, if they were to increase it to that 484, that would be too much for these bosses.
Alors, c'est là qu'on s'entend, le lutte maintenant.
Teresa and then Tim.
I remember a few years
Je me
ago,
souviens, il y a quelques années,
liquor company Grand Marnier,
et Grand Marnier, la compagnie, il y avait une grève.
What is the state of the situation with Grand Marnier, and are there other companies in the U.S. and France that we can deal with on the question of the treatment of workers there?
Il y a eu une grève. Quelle est la situation aujourd'hui de ces travailleurs, de la lutte, et qu'est-ce que nous pouvons ici faire en relation à ces travailleurs?
Je crois que, comme je viens de dire tantôt, le travailleur subit une sorte de pression pas du gouvernement, du patronat. Et
Mais dans cette usine, tu connais ce cas?
Cette usine, c'était dans le nord. C'était dans le nord. Mais je crois que c'est fermé aujourd'hui. C'est fermé et les ouvriers sont sur le pavé.
They closed that plant and they fired all the workers. Il faut répondre sur ça parce qu'elle te demandait sur ça. Et donc,
la question c'est que fait les ouvriers?
Quelle
est la situation des ouvriers?
Non, dans cette usine de Grand Marnier. Donc ils ont fermé.
Ils ont fermé. C'est fermé aujourd'hui, c'est fermé depuis un bon nombre de temps et les ouvriers s'en aillent, sans rémunération.
And they were fired without any compensation or of any kind.
Il faut dire
I should just add.
Il faut dire dans ce secteur, aujourd'hui il y a 12 usines sous-traitants aux États-Unis. Dans 12 usines, il y a 8 propriétaires d'usines. Et ces 8 personnes-là, ils peuvent tout bloquer la décision du gouvernement, du Parlement, parce que c'est eux qui détiennent l'argent, ils peuvent payer pour faire toutes ces choses.
You have to know that a lot of the sweatshop owners left because of troubles and instability. We have 12 sweatshops that remain, owned by 8 families. This is where there's productive work still. They've refused all union recognition, and they will refuse to implement any decisions that the governments take. These are mostly U.S. owned. They're there, they're given special treatment, and there's very little at this point that we can do because they're simply refusing to abide by any laws, even if they were passed.
Tim.
My question comes on the heels of what was said,
J'ai une question
$1.30 an hour
par
minimum
rapport
wage
au salaire minimum de $1.34
a day,
par
8-hour
jour.
day. Okay?
pour les
And I've
vieux
met
jours.
other letter carriers and other trade unions
Je
that
travaille
hear
comme
this and go back and tell other people that
Il
we
faut
work
que-
with about this.
Il faut
minimum wage
qu'on leur
as a
dise
atrocity.
que c'est une
My
atrocité
question
ce
is,
salaire
you
minimum.
said earlier about
Tu as dit
baseball
avant
being made there.
qu'ils
Major
fabriquaient des
League
baseballs.
I was in a
des
big
baseballs.
lot store.
J'étais
and saw
dans
where you buy a whole bag from
un
just a
commerce
small amount, and it's on the outside of the packaging.
Il
Now they
disait-
were hand stitched.
qui disaient qu'ils
I
étaient
don't
faits à
know,
la main.
$5 for 10 balls or something like
$5.
that. But if everybody in this room
Si tout
knows
le monde
what Major
savait-
League ball players make,
Si tout le monde
How
savait ce
much
que
money
gagnent
is
les
taken
joueurs de
into a
baseball
ball game?
quand les balles
This
sont
is wrong.
confectionnées à la main par les gens qui gagnent
I
dans
mean, what can we do,
les
even
balles de
from that
baseball.
standpoint? I mean, there ought to be
Et ce
some
n'est
type
plus
of boycott that Americans
C'est
can do.
c'est plus fin.
I'm
C'était avant. J'ai fait
pissed
des
right now.
rapports de l'État. Des rapports de l'État.
Well, lack of a better way to say it.
Dis répondre que même ces gens-là sont fermés.
Bon, c'est fermé. On n'a pas fait baseball en Haïti à présent. Mais c'est fermé. Quand je travaillais, moi, le salaire minimum était de 15 gouttes.
C'était combien en dollars?
C'était 15 gouttes en dollars, à peu près de dollars à l'époque. Là.
Oui, c'était combien?
C'était $2, 30 $, c'est différent.
Still in the process
Ok.
of.
Ah bon, je comprends. En Haïti, c'est différent. Il faut poser la question pourquoi Haïti est occupé. Le coup d'État du président Aristide a été fait, c'est pour ça. Parce que avant, quand on organise une grève, on fait appel à l'armée d'Haïti.
You have to understand that the situation's been different in Haiti. Anytime we organized any strike, they called in the army.
Et aujourd'hui, si on essaie d'organiser une grève, on fait appel à la ministre pour vous empêcher de pénétrer de l'usine.
So we're in a very defensive, very difficult situation. Even trying to organize any kind of a strike, they immediately call in the MINUSTA forces to squash us.
Et la ministre est là pour protéger et pour consolider le statu quo.
And that's the purpose of these occupations. So we're facing an occupation army of our country when we have to deal with even our workplace issues.
Peut-être vous entendez parler, la semaine dernière, il y avait une lutte à l'intérieur de l'université d'État pour l'autonomie de l'université d'État pour empêcher le pouvoir de privatiser
Perhaps
l'université.
in a different level, but there was a struggle in the universities, the students wanting to maintain the autonomy of the universities that are their universities of state.
Et les soldats de la ministère ont pénétré l'université pour casser la lutte des étudiants.
And the MINUSTA violated the autonomy that existed, and they came in and they repressed the students in the university.
Voilà.
Tu voulais répondre sur le contexte?
Okay, we really are about out of time.
Let's make out the checks, Alan.
Right.
Collier had sent out some information about how to make out the check. The ISO pastors and then St. Guadalupe. So can you explain?
Yes, please.
Well, yes, I just wanted to say a little bit about the financing of the tour. I just want to thank everybody for making a donation. This is not financed by any big union. Unfortunately, the unions, Donna, they should be taking this up and organizing these tours. So it's really up to us. It's a real grassroots effort. And Sister Collier Clark, who's the organizer of this tour, was able to get a sponsorship, including a tax-deductible 501c3 status through IIFCO, the Interreligious Task Force in New York, IIFCO, isn't it? Just one I? IFCO, IFCO, Pastors for Peace. And say Guadeloupe on the memo line. Guadeloupe Haiti tour on the memo line. Yes.
And
Thank you.
IFC, Pastors for Peace?
Yes. And thank you.
We really are out of time, and we were going to have a brief sum up by the last two, by the two panelists. So if you could do that in about 2 minutes, and then we're going to have the closing by Brother Chorus.
I would just like to thank you all for coming. And I would like to say that I think it's really important to think about Haiti and Guadeloupe together, which a lot of people fail to do. And they might seem like extremely different cases. And in Haiti, they're battling over $1.30 a day, whereas in Guadeloupe, they're getting more than the Haitian minimum wage just as an increase from their strike. And their minimum wage is $1,200 a month to start, right? But the thing is that it's important to understand worker struggles on both of these fronts, right? And I think for us in the United States, it's important to see how workers in the Caribbean in these different positionings to the global economy are making headway, and both of these cases are important for us to give solidarity and support to. And I had asked Domota what he thought about, carrying out this incredible strike and getting all these victories right as there's this huge global economic crisis, and around the world we're being told, oh, we have to tighten our belts and we have to bail out the capitalists and we have to make do during this time. And he was saying that this is precisely the time in which we need to organize, because all these bailouts for the capitalists are not the way we should be spending money. And so it's not about when is the time to organize, it's when the workers are ready to organize, which is what he said. And what Brother Fignole said was really important, which is that the El Cape organization is not just an alliance among their different members, but really an alliance between the organization and the people of Guadeloupe who were ready for change. And so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Conclusion seulement de 2 minutes sur petite conclusion de 2 minutes.
Alors, nous devons nous mettre ensemble. Les oppresseurs, qui est comme gendarme de tous les gouvernements du monde, le président du monde, à leur service, et nous devons nous mettre ensemble en dehors de nos différences, dans l'unité, avec un grand U, pour pouvoir combattre ce genre de choses. Nous devons créer notre pôle fédératif pour pouvoir lutter contre l'inacceptable.
I think a lesson we've learned is that all of us here, working people, oppressed people who are under the boot of the powered and the moneyed interests, have to unite. We have to unite beyond our political or trade union, religious or other differences or affiliations to build a common pole. Because it's the only way we're going to be able to prevail. The bosses are united. They have their unity. We have to forge our unity with a big capital U.
Espérons vous retrouver en septembre prochain dans le cadre de la Commission d'enquête internationale pour pouvoir établir la vérité et pour démasquer cette communauté internationale mafieuse par rapport à la lutte démocratique à l'échelle mondiale. Je vous en remercie.
So I just want to thank you. I hope that we can be together in Haiti in September, whether you're there personally or not, but joining us in the struggle to bring the word out about the forgotten Haiti to the international workers movement, to the international community. I just want to thank you for that.
Closing comments by Richard Cords. It is, brother.
Brothers and sisters, first of all, let me thank Sister Bonilla, whose name I can pronounce well because Bobby Bonilla played a lot of years of Major League Baseball. You were inspiring. Of course, you had a great subject that's been inspiring for workers everywhere that we have learned about the struggle of the workers of Guadeloupe and Martinique and the great accomplishments that they've made, and especially the profound remarks that you shared from Brother D'Amato, that it's precisely in a period of crisis where workers seem like they're in the toughest position to fight, that workers have historically shown a great capacity not only to fight, but to win in that fight. So that's a wonderful thing, and please share with Brother D'Amato our great appreciation for that insight that he shared and you shared with us tonight. Brother Fignoli, it's hard to know, we're speaking a different language than the brother,
On parle un langage différent.
but we heard the biography of this brother.
Et on a entendu l'itinéraire de ce camarade,
To have the courage
d'avoir eu le courage
to persevere
et de maintenir la lutte.
in the face of the continuous, prolonged terror
Terror
that has been
qui a été
Haitian society over the last few decades.
pendant les dernières décennies.
My confidence in the ability
Ma confiance dans la
of the common man and woman
de la personne
to rise to great heights
de pouvoir monter à
has
des
been
grands niveaux
reinvigorated and
et
reinforced
renforcée
by the privilege of getting to know Brother Fignoli during the course of the last day.
camarade Fignoli tout au long de la journée.
So first, let us again thank this brother and sister, and in so doing, let's show some appreciation for the struggle of the workers in Guadeloupe and in Haiti that they represent.
Les travailleurs
I also want to thank Sister Sandra Koritz for chairing this meeting tonight and actually having a pretty pleasant smile as she chaired and ran things. She's a heck of a sister, as I'm well aware of. Brother Ajamu Dillahunt, we want to thank you, sir, and brother. I'm older than you are, I think, but so I'll take the sir back. Brother Dillahunt, we want to thank you. It's great to see you, as always, in a great cause, and we appreciate your streaming this. And one of my favorite, I quote certain people a lot, and Paul Robeson, many people know, is my great hero. But I actually quote somebody else more than I quote Robeson. And that somebody else is the Wizard of Oz, and the quote is, "I don't know how it works." So on behalf of those like myself who don't know how it works, I want to thank you, Brother Dillahunt, for streaming this, whatever that means. Finally, I also want to thank Brother Alan Benjamin for the difficult and usually unthanked, what's the word? Thankless, there we go. Usually thankless task of doing the translation here, because this is a political question. Brother Benjamin has allowed us to have the opportunity to get to know and to learn the wisdom that Brother Fignoli has shared. So let's give Brother Benjamin a hand for his international. I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for a donation total, and especially Brother O.W. Sweeney, who will get his hug afterwards, but you will get it, for the $420 contribution that you've given here tonight to this trip. I want to mention again that we've had the privilege of one of the few working-class heroes that's emerged in the 50 years that Saladin and I have been active in this struggle. One of the very few working-class heroes that's emerged and become a world-recognized figure for coming here tonight out of her sickbed with her husband, Preston, and that is Crystal Lee Sutton, the real Norma Ray, our hero. We love you, Crystal. I want to close on a note that we all have our own responsibility, and you came out tonight and you knew when you came out that if you learned something, that you were going to have to do something about what you learned. So we do have a couple of things that you can do tonight. One of the great heroes of our society, along with Crystal Lee, one of the greatest truth tellers, one of the few great truth tellers that we've had, in the last 20 years or so in this country, so filled with parasitism and greed and selfishness over these years, has been the great Mumia Abu Jamal.
La question de Mumia Abu Jamal.
Not only the voice of the voiceless,
Non seulement la voix,
but the truth teller to the powers that be that know only lies and degradation and exploitation. And Brother Mumia Abu Jamal, for his great contribution to our world, is still serving
sévit toujours
his sentence on death row in Pennsylvania. So Brother Pete has been carrying around this petition tonight, and we have copies of that petition on that table. And we'd like you to take it and go get it filled out and send it where it needs to go.
pour l'envoyer.
Because our salute here goes out to Brother Mumia Abu Jamal, who was in spirit with us here tonight.
Parce qu'il était ici avec
Finally, right here at home, we got to count me in. Some of the brothers and sisters from my union, they know that you signed this count me in, and we appreciate that. We are counting you in. And that is to be with us in the effort to form a North Carolina Triad Jobs with Justice chapter, or whatever other demands that are made on us by history and by our own economic and political situation that we find ourselves. So I want to urge you to fill out this pink sheet, and just because it's pink doesn't mean anything. Okay? One way or the other, both ways, either way, or politically either. Okay. It's just pink. Okay. The final thing on this program is I'm going to take the leadership from Brother Fignole St. Cyr, who opened his comments not by talking about Haiti, but by talking about Guadeloupe. When will we, the workers of the United States, the workers of the Afro-American nation in the southern United States, the workers in the Chicano nation in the southwest, the workers of our compañeros and compañeras in Puerto Rico, when will we and our brothers and sisters all the way off in the Philippines, or our brothers and sisters in China, where most of the work, after all, is being done today, when will we learn that we are workers first and not members of a certain nationality or ethnic group? So Brother Fignole gave us a really fine example from someone who's coming from a country and representing the workers of that country to a group in the most powerful imperialist country in the world. And the first comments that he made to us, that he shared with us, were not about his country or the workers in his country. It was about the people and the workers in Guadeloupe. Can we learn this lesson from Brother Fignole St. Cyr? I hope so. Brothers and sisters, thank you for coming out tonight. And in the tradition of the labor movement of the United States, at a previous moment in history when we were much stronger, and we need to get there again, I would like you to all join me, stand, hold hands with each other, and repeat, if you believe it, the old Union saying, "In our unity lies our strength." In our unity lies our strength. Thank you.